That girl. That nurse, she hissed. She thinks she can replace me. Me? Never. She paused the video on Stephen's smiling face and touched the screen with shaky fingers. You were mine. You were supposed to be mine forever. Hi, viewers. Welcome to the part 2 of the story. Kindly subscribe to our channel to follow up with this series and don't forget to give us a like. Now, let's dive in. The night was calm in Abuja. The sky was clear. The lights inside the Okoro mansion glowed warmly. Inside the living room, Juliet laughed softly as she helped Mrs. Okoro fold freshly washed wrappers. The old woman's eyes sparkled with peace, the kind she hadn't felt in years. Stephen stood by the window, watching them with a smile. The soft hum of the air conditioner, Juliet's gentle voice, and his mother's laughter blended into one comforting melody. This was home, this was peace, this was everything he had dreamed of. But in another part of Lagos, chaos was brewing. Inside a cheap hotel room, Lagos Anita sat cross-legged on a small bed with peeling brown sheets. The room smelled of stale air and anger. Empty takeaway plates littered the floor. Her eyes, once arrogant and bright, now looked wild, desperate and burning. Her phone vibrated for the 10th time. She pressed play. Again and again. It was Stephen's wedding clip. Stephen smiling at Juliet, Stephen holding her hand, Stephen kissing her forehead softly. Juliet in a simple gown, glowing with joy. Mrs. Okoro praying over them, people cheering, love everywhere, and not a single space left for her. Anita's chest tightened. Her breathing grew heavy. That girl, that nurse, she hissed. She thinks she can replace me. Me? Never. She paused the video on Stephen's smiling face and touched the screen with shaky fingers. You were mine. You were supposed to be mine forever. She leaned back, eyes narrowing. You think you can throw me away like trash? No, I'm not going back to poverty. Not again, not ever. She stood, pacing the room like a trapped predator. I'll ruin everything before I let you move on, Stephen. Her breathing steadied. A plan was already forming. A wicked one. Stephen walked into the lobby, wearing a grey suit, greeting staff as he passed. His company had just hit global partnership level, 10 times bigger than when Anita was still in his life. Life was finally good. Until the elevator door opened, and she stepped out. Anita, looking elegant. Too elegant for someone who claimed to be poor. Silk gown, gold necklace. Hair perfectly styled. She had transformed her broken look into one of polished pity. Stephen froze. His stomach dropped. His fingers curled into fists. What are you doing here? He asked sharply. People in the lobby whispered. Anita placed a hand on her chest dramatically. Stephen, please don't be angry. I came to talk. Just 5 minutes. No. Stephen, please, she said louder, making sure everyone could hear. I'm not here for trouble. I just want closure. His jaw tightened. People were staring. If he created a scene, it would go viral. Fine, he said coldly. 5 minutes, in the private lounge. She nodded quickly. Too quickly. As they entered the gold-trimmed lounge, she turned to him with teary eyes. Stephen. I've suffered, she whispered. He said nothing. She moved closer. You left me with nothing. I'm not begging for marriage back. I just want to talk. Like civilized people. Please. Stephen exhaled sharply. Say what you want. I have a meeting. Anita swallowed. Then she stepped closer and lowered her voice. Stephen. I think I'm pregnant. Silence. Cold. Heavy. Deadly. Stephen stared at her. You're pregnant, he repeated slowly, voice steady but deadly calm. Yes, she whispered, touching her stomach. I didn't realize earlier, But after we separated, I started feeling strange, and I went to the hospital. They said I'm 2 months gone. Stephen's eyes narrowed. 2 months ago, he was already married to Juliet. He took a step back. Anita, you're lying. She forced tears. Why would I lie about a child? For sympathy, for attention, for money. I know you. Her lip trembled too perfectly. I can prove it, she said. A DNA test after the birth. Stephen clenched his jaw, his heartbeat thumped loudly. You and I haven't been together for nearly a year, he said coldly. This baby, if it exists, is not mine. Anita dropped to her knees dramatically. Stephen, please, don't let your new wife turn your heart against me. He looked around. Cameras were not allowed in the lounge, but Anita was performing for an audience she planned to create later. He understood now. This wasn't about pregnancy. This was about ruining his marriage. Anita, he said quietly, get up. I'm leaving. She grabbed his trouser leg. Stephen, please help me. Even if you don't want me back, don't abandon my child. He stepped back sharply. I'm calling security. She stood quickly, tears gone, eyes sharp as knives. This is not the end, she hissed. You think you're safe with that little nurse? You think your life is stable? She placed a finger on his chest. I will tear everything apart before I let Juliet enjoy the life I suffered to build with you. Stephen froze, her voice lowered to a whisper. You haven't seen madness yet. She walked past him and left the lounge. Stephen stood still, heartbeat pounding. He didn't know it yet, but Anita had already taken step 2 of her plan. Juliet was sitting on the bed, wearing a simple blue satin nightdress, brushing her hair as she waited for Stephen. When he walked in, she smiled at him. You're late, she teased gently, but the moment she saw his face, her smile faded. Stephen, what happened? He sat beside her, rubbing his forehead. Anita showed up today. Juliet's hand paused mid-air. Why? She wants to come back into my life, he said. She even claimed she's pregnant. Juliet stared at him, shocked. Pregnant? How? It's a lie, he said firmly, a bold lie. Juliet nodded slowly. But why lie? Because she wants to destroy us, Stephen said quietly. She wants to break this marriage. Juliet swallowed hard. Then Stephen took her hand gently. Juliet, whatever happens, know this. I'm not leaving you. I won't let her come between us. Juliet squeezed his hand, nodding softly. I trust you. But deep in her chest, a quiet fear had already begun to grow. And on the other side of the city, Anita smiled wickedly in the back seat of a cab as she watched the video she secretly recorded of her falling to her knees before Stephen in the lounge. Her plan was simple. Make Juliet look like a husband snatcher. Make the world believe the billionaire abandoned his pregnant ex-wife. Make Juliet suffer. Make Stephen suffer. And force her way back into his life, violently if she must. She uploaded the video, and within 1 hour, the internet exploded. It was a hot Sunday in Abuja. The sun sat high like a golden drum in the sky, and the smell of jollof rice drifted from the kitchen. Stephen sat on the veranda with Mama Okoro and Juliet. They were laughing about small things, about how Mama still hid groundnuts inside her wrapper so Stephen wouldn't finish them. For the first time in a long time, peace felt normal. Then the intercom buzzed. The security man's voice came through, tight and nervous. Sir, there is someone at the gate. She says she will not leave. Stephen frowned. Who? A pause, then softly, Madam Anita. The air went still. Juliet's hands froze on the tray she was carrying. Mama Okoro looked up, eyes sharp and calm. Stephen stood slowly and wiped his hands on a napkin. Let her in, he said at last, voice steady. Juliet looked at him, worried. Are you sure? He squeezed her fingers gently. I'm sure. This house has nothing to hide. The black gate rolled open and the security guard led Anita in. She looked thinner than before. Her makeup was neat but heavy, and her wig sat a bit crooked, as though it had been fixed in a hurry. She held a big bag and wore long heels that sank slightly into the grass. When her eyes found Stephen, something fierce flashed inside them. Need mixed with pride, like a fire trying to hide under a blanket. Stephen, she said, voice low, please, I need to talk to you. Juliet picked up the tray and excused herself, slipping back inside the house. Mama stayed seated, chin high, gaze gentle but firm. Stephen spoke first. You could have called. I knew you would not pick, Anita replied quickly. So I came. I heard about the wedding. We married quietly, Stephen said. For peace. Anita's eyes flicked toward the door where Juliet had disappeared. Peace, she repeated, then forced a smile. Good for you. Silence stretched thin like a rubber band. Say what you came to say, Stephen added, polite but guarded. Anita took in a shaky breath and switched to the voice she used when she wanted sympathy. I'm sorry. Her eyes glistened. For everything. For the house. For Mama. For the shame. I was proud. I was foolish. I thought money made me a queen, but it made me blind. Mama Okoro blinked once, slow and steady, and said nothing. Stephen's face was unreadable. You already said sorry on TV, with bloggers and cameras. This is different, she whispered. This is me, not the internet. I have been sick, Stephen. I went broke. People I thought were friends left me. Even my sister refuses to take my calls. I can't sleep. I keep seeing your face the day you returned. I keep hearing my own voice yelling at Mama. She swallowed hard. I am not that person anymore. What do you want? Stephen asked softly. Anita bit her lip. Help. Money? She flinched. No. Well, I need to find my feet again, but that's not why I came. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I came because I still love you. Juliet reappeared with a tray of Zobo and set 3 cups on the table. Anita's gaze stabbed the red drink as if it had offended her. Juliet smiled politely. You're welcome, Anita. Anita's eyes lifted, soft but cold. Thank you. Nurse. Juliet answered with a calm nod and stepped back behind Stephen's chair. Stephen sat. Let's be very clear, he said gently. You and I are over. I forgave you, truly. But love is not prison. I chose peace. I chose truth. And I chose Juliet. Anita's smile cracked. So that's final. Yes. For a second, the mask fell. In Anita's eyes, fear screamed. But just as quickly, she pulled the mask back up. She turned to Mama, her voice suddenly honey-sweet. Mama, please talk to him. I wronged you. I know I did. But is there no mercy for me? You are a mother. Mama Okoro's voice was soft but firm. Mercy is not a key to walk back into a house you burnt yourself. Go and build a new house, my daughter. Something hot flashed in Anita's face. She pressed her lips together and nodded. I see. She turned to leave, then paused as if remembering something. She dipped her hand into her bag, brought out a brown envelope, and placed it on the table. This is not for you, she said to Stephen. It's for the court if it comes to that. Stephen's brows pinched. Court? Anita gave a small, clean smile. You will soon understand. Then she walked out with a strange kind of grace, the grace of a storm pulling itself together. Juliet exhaled. What was in that envelope? Stephen opened it. Inside were printed photos, grainy shots of him and Juliet laughing under the mango tree in Enugu weeks before his wedding. Another showed Juliet holding Mama's hand at the clinic. Another showed Stephen hugging Juliet beside the car. Just a quiet, thankful hug. All innocent, all tender, but printed under each picture in bold letters someone had stamped, "Adultery before divorce was final." Juliet's face grew pale. "Oh no." Mama leaned forward, voice steady. "Who stamped this?" Stephen flipped to the last page, a note in neat handwriting. "People will believe what they see, not what is true. See you soon. A." Juliet's fingers trembled. "Stephen, she's going to drag us." He placed the photos back in the envelope and looked at both women. His voice was calm, deep, decided. "Let her try." Lagos. A small, neat apartment in Surulere. Anita stood before a mirror with the lights off, the city's glow cutting sharp lines across her face. On the bed behind her, an open laptop streamed a gossip channel. A blogger spoke with fast fire. Breaking: billionaire Stephen's secret village girlfriend revealed. Was he cheating before divorce? Exclusive pictures show. Anita smiled without joy. She picked up her phone and typed quickly. "Anita, phase 1 done. Drop the second leak tomorrow morning. Send the fake clinic note too. Make sure it looks real." A reply came almost at once. Unknown. "Payment first, madam." Her fingers tightened. She sent the transfer and tossed the phone onto the bed. Then she pressed her palms to the dressing table and leaned close to the mirror. "Never again," she whispered to her own reflection. "I will never go back to being small." She reached for another envelope tucked under the mattress. Inside lay a clean white card with one name printed in gold. Barrister Sola Adebiyi. Below the name, a handwritten promise. "Reputation is a game. If you pay, you play." Anita closed her eyes and let the darkness hold her for a second. When she opened them, her face had changed again. Soft mouth, wet lashes, a perfect picture of a woman wronged. "Phase 2, she said to the dark. "We go for Juliet." The next morning, Abuha woke to noise. Phones buzzed, statuses popped, links jumped from one chat group to another. A new headline spread like petrol on fire. "Nurse Juliet stole another woman's husband. Evidence shows secret romance before final divorce." A short clip followed, edited from old hospital CCTV and a passerby's video. In the clip, Juliet supported Mama Okoro down a hallway. Stephen appeared at the end, worried, then touched Juliet's arm to thank her. In slow motion, the touch looked like a secret code. The comments were wild. "Gold digger." "So this is the nurse, Omo. Why do these billionaires always leave their wives? Maybe the first wife was wicked Shah. Maybe the nurse is worse." By noon, reporters were at the hospital. Nurses moved in a small flock, shielding Juliet like white birds. Juliet kept her chin up, but her eyes were wet. Stephen's call came. "I'm outside." She hurried to the car. He opened the door. She sat, closed it, and let the tears she had been holding spill at last. "I didn't do anything wrong," she whispered. "I treated Mama like a human being. Now the whole world thinks I stole you." Stephen held her hand, steady and warm. "They will shout for a few days. Then they will move on to the next fire. But while they shout, we will stand." She looked at him with big, shaking eyes. "And if they don't stop, then we stay standing longer." A sharp knock on the window made them both turn. A woman in a red suit stood there, slim, tall, expensive. She held up a business card to the glass. Stephen lowered the window. "Good afternoon," she said smoothly. "I'm Barrister Sola Adebiyi, representing Anita Okoro. We are filing for defamation and marital interference." Juliet gasped. What?" The lawyer's smile was small and dangerous. "When you encourage a man to abandon his lawful wife, you must be ready to answer some questions. A court letter will arrive by evening." Stephen stared at her. "You are wasting your client's money." We'll let the papers decide, she said, sliding the card into Juliet's lap as if sharing a sweet. Be well. She walked away with long, quiet steps. Juliet clutched the card, the red suit burning into her brain. Stephen, will this ruin your company? It will not, he said, but his jaw was tight. It will try. Boardroom, long glass table, 12 directors, a wall of screens showing the day's storm. One director coughed, another cleared his throat. The PR head spoke first. Sir, we need a statement. The blogs are saying you hid a relationship before divorce was final. We didn't, Stephen said, and we won't defend a lie. But we will state facts. The legal advisor nodded. We will request the CCTV source and metadata. Any edit will show. Another director shifted uncomfortably. Sir, investors are asking if your personal life will affect the new deal. Money is scared. Stephen lifted his chin. Our code is clean. Our books are clean. Our plan is clean. My home will be clean too. That is my answer. The room steadied, like a boat that had found its balance. Then Stephen's phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. You think your board is strong? Ask them about the 2019 server breach you covered for your partner, Toby. I have the emails. A. He stared at the words, and for the first time that day, a cold hand pressed his spine. He did not cover a crime. Back in 2019, a young engineer named Toby had made a mistake and reported it immediately. Stephen took the blame in public so the boy wouldn't lose his job and his mother's health insurance. It was a leadership choice. It was also private. How did Anita know? He looked up to find the board still watching him. He put the phone face down and forced a small smile. Let's finalize the statement, he said. But in his mind, a new truth had already formed. Anita had someone on the inside. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that listens for trouble. Mama Okoro sat with her rosary. Juliet was in the kitchen, chopping onions with small, angry hands. Stephen stepped in and placed his palm on her back. I may be boxed a little, he said softly, but I know how to fight inside a box. Juliet gave a weak smile. You're mixing boxing with cooking, my love. He kissed her forehead. Then I'll mix victory with dinner. They were plating food when Ada, his old secretary, the one who drove him home the day he caught Anita, arrived. She looked tense. I did something, Ada said to Stephen, eyes flicking from him to Juliet. Maybe I should not have. But I did. What is it? Stephen asked. Ada took out her phone and played a recording. A man's voice came through, nervous, hurried. They offered me money to dig. They wanted anything on Stephen that looked like scandal. The woman in red, Lawyer Sola, promised to double my salary if I leaked old emails. I said no, but someone else may say yes. Who is this? Stephen asked. An intern in compliance, Ada said. He called me because he trusts me. I told him to say nothing to them, and I told him I would come straight here. Juliet's cheeks flushed with anger. So they want to drag your company too? Stephen nodded slowly. Anita does not want to come back because of love. She wants the life, the shine. She wants us to break so she can enter through the crack. Ada swallowed. There is more. The same number tried to reach James, the driver. They asked him to say you and Juliet used to meet at the hospital at night before the divorce. Juliet's mouth fell open. But that's not true. I know, Ada said. James told them to stop calling. Silence fell. Then Mama's voice came, calm as rain. Then we will do what honest people do. We will stand in bright light and show our hands. Stephen stepped close to Juliet. Tomorrow, we go to Enugu. We sit where love started. We tell the truth, on our own camera, in our own words. No fear. Juliet held his gaze. Even if the world doesn't believe. He nodded. The truth is not a bird we must chase. It is a tree. It stands. Mama smiled faintly, and God waters it. Midnight, somewhere in Woos. To a quiet bar, soft lights. Barrister Solar sat across from Anita in a private booth. A thin man in a grey hoodie slid into the seat beside them, eyes darting. The intern refused, he whispered. But I have another route. Solar's brow raised. Speak. The man smirked. Your problem is not only the nurse, there is another woman, a real danger, someone close to Stephen's mother. She can push the old woman against Juliet if we guide her. Family fight sells more than blogger drama. Anita leaned in, suddenly hungry. Who is she? He looked delighted. Her name is Auntie Agatha. Distant cousin. She has strong opinions and a quick tongue. I watched her at the Enugu compound once. She thinks Juliet is too small for the Okoros. Give her a little story, and she will shout it for free. Solar's smile returned, cool and sharp. Find her. Anita's hand trembled under the table as she held her drink. She told herself it was excitement. But under the excitement, something colder sat, a shadow she refused to name. I am taking my life back, she whispered to herself. Whatever it takes. Dawn, Enugu Road. Stephen's SUV rolled out before sunrise. The sky was still grey, and Abuja's lights winked goodbye. Juliet leaned her head on his shoulder. Mama sat in the back, wrapped in a shawl, praying softly under her breath. They stopped at a small church on the way. It was quiet, the floor cool, the air smelling of old wood and candle smoke. Stephen knelt and spoke to God without big words. Help us stand in the open, he prayed. Help us not to fear shadows. When they reached the village, the mango tree looked exactly as it had on the day he first felt peace. Birds sang, a rooster shouted. The world, small and bright, welcomed them. Juliet set out stools and a small phone tripod with a clip-on microphone. Stephen smiled. Since when did you become a media house? She laughed lightly. Since people started cutting our story into pieces. They recorded a simple video, no makeup, no filters, just faces and truth. Stephen spoke first. My name is Stephen Okoro. This is my wife, Juliet. This is my mother. We are here to say the simple truth. I met Juliet properly after my marriage was already dying. She cared for my mother when many did not. We did not date before the court finished. We did not plan any secret. Whatever anyone shows you that says otherwise is cut, edited or staged. Juliet added, voice steady. I am a nurse. I help people. I did not steal anything. I did not steal a man. I did not steal a family. I only stood beside pain and tried to make it smaller. Mama Okoro finished, eyes shining. I was there. I saw the day my son suffered. I saw the day he found rest, let the truth stand without shouting. They posted the video and put the phones away. The wind moved the leaves softly, like a clap. Now we wait, Juliet said. Stephen shook his head. No, now we live. He reached for her hand. She gave it. They didn't see the woman standing at the far corner of the fence, short, powerful, with a scarf tied tight and a face that could slice yam without a knife. Auntie Agatha watched them with eyes full of judgment and a heart full of old stories. She pulled out a small phone and sent a message. I have seen them. The nurse wears humility like a new dress. Call me. Agatha. Then she turned and walked away, her slippers snapping against the dust, already preparing. The road back to Abuja was quiet. Stephen drove with one hand on the wheel and the other holding Juliet's fingers. Mama Okoro sat in the back seat, humming an old Igbo hymn as the sun slipped behind the clouds. For a moment, everything felt calm. Until Stephen's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again, and again, and again. Juliet looked at the screen. Stephen, it's your PR manager, your lawyer, 3 directors, and Ada. Something's wrong. Stephen pulled over. He tapped the first message, then the second, then the 30 that followed. His chest tightened. Juliet leaned closer. What happened? Stephen exhaled sharply. The video we posted, someone edited it and uploaded a fake version. Juliet blinked. Fake how? Mama leaned forward. My son, speak. Stephen played the edited clip. The 3-minute video had been cut and rearranged to twist everything. Stephen saying, "My marriage was already dying," was edited to, "My marriage was alive when Juliet stepped in." Mama's, "I saw when he found rest," was cut into, "I saw when he found Juliet." Juliet's "I did not steal anything" was chopped into, "I steal a man." The captions on the fake clip read, "They lied. Watch what they really said." Someone had even added dramatic background music and tears emojis. Juliet covered her mouth. "This is wicked." Mama Okoro shook her head slowly. "My children, the devil is not resting." Stephen scrolled further. "It gets worse. Look." A trending hashtag filled the screen. Juliet, the husband snatcher. Cheese steal, a poor husband challenge. Nurse with no mercy. Juliet's eyes glistened. People believe everything they see. Stephen turned to her, taking her hand. "Look at me." She lifted her eyes. "I believe you. Mama believes you. The truth has not changed. Lies are just louder." Mama Okoro added softly, "When a goat is tied, it thinks it is bigger than a cow. These lies are goats." Juliet almost smiled. Almost. Stephen's phone rang again. "Ada." He picked up. "Ada, what happened?" Ada's voice trembled. "Sir, someone leaked your internal company records." Stephen's blood ran cold. "What records?" "The ones from 2019, Ada said. "The server issue you covered for Toby. The email where you took responsibility." Stephen cursed under his breath. "But that incident was resolved internally. It wasn't corruption." "I know," Ada replied, "but someone edited the emails to make it look like you buried a cyber attack." Juliet gasped. "What?" Stephen rubbed his forehead. "And let me guess, Anita is behind it?" Ada's shaky breath answered the question. "Not just her, sir. She hired a media law firm and a digital attack consultant. They are pushing the narrative that Okoro Tech hides breaches." Stephen felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. Real fear. "Sir," Ada whispered, "the investors are panicking. There's an emergency board meeting tonight." Juliet grabbed his wrist gently. "Stephen, go. Protect your company." He nodded, jaw tight. "I'll drop you both at home first." Juliet shook her head. "No, we're going with you." Mama Okoro nodded in agreement. "We will fight as one pot." Abuja, Okoro Tech headquarters, emergency meeting. The boardroom was filled with tension. More than a dozen directors sat around the long table. Some whispered, some typed, some stared at Stephen with cold curiosity. Stephen pulled out a chair for Mama and Juliet before taking his own seat at the head of the table. The legal director began, "Sir, the media has screenshots of edited internal emails. They're claiming you covered a major cyber attack." Stephen stayed calm. "That's a lie. The engineer reported it immediately. We handled it transparently." The finance director shook his head. "Lies don't matter, sir. Investors react to headlines, not truth." Another director added, "Your ex-wife is